Dude, you got a 90s bass there? Huh?
Sure do. It sounds like the 90s.
It sounds like the 90s in here. Yeah. My God, it feels comfortable. Like an old pair of slippers. Oh, somebody pass me my robe. Peoples of the internet, if you're here for some 90s love, we have got you covered.
Oh, we sure do.
This episode is going to be all about the basses of the 90s, and we have been, I think we decided on doing this yesterday, and we were like, so we've been like frantically for the last 30 minutes looking for like clips and ideas about sharing the basses of the 1990s, and we think we've got some goodies for you. I've definitely got 2 basses from the 90s here, and Ian has got the rest because that's why we love him. And listen,
I can provide.
Yeah, and listen, if we've missed out any, obviously we will have. Please let us know in the comments what we missed. We might do a round 2 of 1990s basses.
Oh my God.
But to kick it off, Ian, hold up that beautiful MTD. Well, wait a minute. Hold up the bass. But what do we mean by basses of the 90s? I guess we better define that. Otherwise, we'll get ourselves in trouble.
I think it's the basses that really either were made, I think it's sort of loose, either basses that were made in the 90s, right? Or that sort of came to prominence in the 90s. The 90s were it was maybe the only era in the 90s and maybe the early 2000s where Fender, for a moment, seemed to sort of take a back seat. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I've said it before, the era between E.T. and The Matrix. Between that's when, because it started in the sort of 78, if you look at people like Alembic, maybe they were a little earlier. But there was that whole kind of wave of boutique basses. But in the 90s, it feels like they just blossomed. It was the peak of the boutique bass. There was an era in the UK, or you UK bass players, you will be able to resonate with what I'm about to say, where every live band you watched on TV, every live band, the bassist was playing a 6-string Warwick. Every live band. Right. There was to be a proper band, to be a band, not the regular bands, but the session. Do you know the cool bands with the session players? They all had 6-string Warwicks. All of them.
Thumbs? 6-string thumbs?
Thumbs and streamers. Mostly streamers, actually. Mostly streamers. So there was this period in the 90s that was just freaking awesome. Well, for bass nerds it was,
I mean, did you? So I will say for me too, I went through this whole thing of, getting rid of that in me. When I came up in the 90s, I was like, I wanted a bass like an MTD. And then I started to play in session world, and it was no. Vintage stuff, Fender, Rickenbacker, Hofner. But boy, I got to tell you, man, when I turned 40, there's something about middle age that it's sort of you have to bring in your youth. You bring it close, Yeah. And for me, it was I'm not going to pretend I don't like a quilted top anymore. I'm not going to pretend I don't like this bass anymore. I've done a lot of pretending, you know? And I'm it's just, I think now for me, all doors are open. I think, this bass isn't going to sound like the perfect thing on something that needs a P bass with flats, but it's so cool.
What
it's
a
got
vibe.
Such a sound, and I just think why isn't that good on what it's going to be good for?
Dude, let me play you a track. Erykah Badu, 1997. Hubert Eaves on bass, Poogie Bell on kit. And this, for me, is just an incredible... this album, I'm kind of... It's like a... What's it called? But when you're flogging something to death. I've told everybody to listen to this album so many times, but I'm just going to do it. I'll do it one more time. Listen to the Erykah Badu 1997 live album. It is a masterclass in bass playing and rhythm section. Truly. And this track is Stay. And Hubert Eaves is just doing an incredible job. And it is just like that bass that Ian's holding. It is a 90s MTD, and it sounds outrageous.
Oh, yeah. This is perfect.
It's incredible, isn't it?
He really gets a nice bend
This
on that
album
beat,
wouldn't
too.
sound like this without that bass tone.
You're totally right. Oh. Cross the bar.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh.
It's outrageous. It's
so cool.
outrageous. Like I've been listening to, I was talking to you about the other day on this is my favorite dog walking album at the minute. I put this on, walk the dog, life just gets better. And I just listened to it and I'm just like, the bass is just so wide.
Yes.
You know, when you think about a P bass, it's like not wide. It's very, it sits in a very particular frequency
Has like a
spot.
mid-range.
Yeah. Whereas
that
this
sort
is
of
just
cuts.
sort of like, whoa.
Yes.
It's a bath.
It's the opposite of a P bass, really, right? It's like all this top, all this bottom. And I think sometimes, people talk about, how that can be hard to live in a mix. And even I've talked about that before of like, it's kind of hard to place in a mix, like in a dense mix, but in a wide open mix, actually, like this, there's no guitar on this recording. It's just keys, drums, right? And singers.
Yeah.
And he takes up all this real estate in the top and bottom with that bass sound. And it is just,
Huge.
It's really glorious. I mean, yeah, so like the active bass thing, not a ton of mid, right? So he's playing this thing. Then, like,
Yeah.
I love that shake he gets on the B too.
It's so beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, give us some love for MTDs down. If you've got any stories about these basses we're talking about today as well, we'd love for you to share in the comments about your stories. So anything about MTD or any of the basses that we're going to be talking about. So,
Yeah.
lots of MTD.
And let me back up. Let me
love.
back up a minute because we didn't even really say, like this is an MTD, Michael Tobias design.
Yeah.
It came from Tobias, right? So Michael Tobias made Tobias in the 80s, sold to Gibson, and then he started his own company called MTD. But it is absolutely the pedigree of what he did with his first instruments. There's something about the way that these play and feel. He used a lot of Wenge in the olden days. So this is Wenge facings on the headstock here, Wenge fingerboard, and then, it's a maple neck.
And he often
I'm
did
not
them
even
with
sure.
Wenge necks as well, didn't he?
Yeah, yep. This is a combo of the two. And this is number 88 that he ever made. And I think this one was made in 96.
Yeah.
And I mean, this sort of like delicious orange burst thing, this is so 90s. Like this colorway to me is just so 90s.
Yeah.
And, shout out to guys like Andrew Goucher. This bass really found a lot of popularity in gospel world.
Oh, big time,
But to me, it just... I haven't had it very long, but I'm really excited to like try it in some sessions because I think in the right music and the right genre and the right mix, this bass...
It's going to sound killing,
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And it's obviously got dual soap bar humbucker. It's got the big fat soap bars in there, and it's got
Bartolini's, baby.
Yeah, Bartolini circuit, which I think is custom for MTDs.
Yeah.
And just incredible basses. Shout out to Michael and Daniel Tobias. How cool as well, like keep it in the family. Come on.
I know, yeah, because Daniel's Michael's son, so now he's running MTD.
Yeah.
And they're making cool stuff. Every time I see him at NAMM too, I'm like, oh my God, all the basses they make are just outrageous. And I notice them, I hear them like from across the hall and think, ooh, I wonder what that is. And I go over and I'm like, oh, it's an MTD. God, I knew I had to have one. But it all started with Hubert for me as well. When I heard that Erykah Badu record, it was good night. It was over.
Yeah, outrageous.
So cool.
Should we talk about Smiths? Because I've got one
Let's
right
do
here.
it.
Let's talk about
move over to
Smiths.
Smith.
So this is, goddamn, I think it's an 84. I think it's a 1984.
So
maybe it's an
then how does this count? How does this count?
Well, because this is the only Ken Smith I've got, and you've got like a more of a 90s one. I would say if somebody was like, what is a stereotypical 90s Ken Smith? I would probably say a 6-string. Exactly what Ian's holding right there. Of course, it's the 90s was the 90s was definitely the era of the 6-string. I would say like mid 80s to all the way through the 90s. There was a lot of 6 strings, and but this is mine. It's actually. It's probably my Desert Island bass. No, it's not.
What?
Actually, check this out.
Is that really true?
No, actually, it's untrue.
Okay.
So interesting. I've got a weird relationship with this bass. It's my The House Is on Fire. You're going to take one bass. What is it? This is the bass I take. This is the one. But it's not my because it feels just beautiful. It's just got. It's like all hand-carved neck. You can just feel that it was done like, feels like it was done in a woodworking shop, real sort of like sawdust and sandpaper and all of that stuff. And there is a difference between a CNC neck and a hand-carved neck. I think it doesn't feel as perfect, right? But there's something I really like about it. And it's just got this beautiful walnut wooden top, all maple body. It was actually made by Vinny Federa when he worked for Ken Smith. And an absolute love it. But it's not my Desert Island bass because it's a Smith thing. And I'm not sure I could just live with a Smith on a desert island because it's got this interesting.
There's like a zzz.
Yeah, and like sometimes I love it. Sometimes I'm not too into it. It's like I've just got a weird relationship with it. I think like part of it, I haven't got a tone control on here or a treble control on this bass. It's one of the older circuits. And I've listened to John, like Ken Smith, his son, John, is just an absolute freak show bass player, beautiful player. And he gets a killer tone out of his, and it doesn't sound as...
Hold on, there's not a treble control on that bass?
Oh, maybe there is a treble control, but
there is.
Maybe it's a tone.
I'm calling you out.
It's a tone. There's a tone on the new circuits. Tone.
Oh, it's like a passive tone control on the new circuit?
Yeah, I think so. So you can turn and you can get, because it's like... I just want to mellow that kind of like activeness. I want to mellow that out a little bit.
Yes.
But they're just incredible basses. Can you play yours? Have you got the zing?
I mean, I wonder if this one has the zing in the way that you think.
No, less actually. I will say as well, there's like a bunch of, let me put it out there. There's a bunch of videos online of people like, it's like this bass versus this bass versus this bass, and one of them is Ken Smith, right? I listen to those videos. For me, Ken Smith always slays. Always wins. Always.
In a mix, they're cool.
In a mix,
it doesn't have the same width as the MTD. There's like a mid-range character to them.
Yeah.
Woo. That is very different. But like, even though they're not maybe as scooped and kind of pleasing sounding as the MTD, they do seem to kind of like occupy like a meaner mid-range space in a mix, which is kind of cool. They're
incredible. Yeah.
And I will say too, like this one has incredible, like the C string, like other 6 strings that I've played, the C string feels sort of wimpy. This one is really, really smooth and even. So if I play scale, like these notes are huge.
Yeah.
So you can kind of, like any of that chord stuff or soloing or even just playing notes on the C string.
Dude, that bass sounds awesome.
Even.
It sounds awesome, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Interestingly, there's a lot of times when I'm like, I'll be going on a gig. If I want to hear myself on a gig, I take this bass.
Oh, interesting.
It just cuts through in the middle. It's so good on a gig when you want to hear yourself. There's a couple, there's a couple of spots I'll play, like a couple of venues. I'm like, that it's like, if I take this bass, I can hear it perfectly. And other people have said, like the 2 basses that I get the most kind of like feedback out of like all of the basses that I've taken on gigs would be my P bass and this bass. They're the ones people have specifically asked me, bring that one. Or bring that one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They want that one.
Yeah.
No one, you may not be surprised to know, Scott, that no one has asked me to bring this bass to a gig. No one.
Do you want a bit of Ken Smith action?
Yeah, please.
Now, before I press
Tell
play
me.
on this,
Yes.
I just want to put out there. Just listen to the kick drum as the bass, like as they just gel together. How it's monstrous. Check this out. Oh.
Oh my God, cool. Mid-range. Oh my God. Of course, this is the mighty Fred Hammond.
Yeah.
On a giant Ken Smith
Giant.
6-string bass. Look at that thing.
Woo.
Oh God, that's cool.
It's so cool, isn't it? Yeah, digga. And another
that thing. That's so cool.
I want to share this as well. This is Freddie Washington, Freddie Washington, playing his Ken Smith on the Phil Collins track, Two Hearts. Alan, can you just see when Two Hearts was recorded? Was it 90s? I think it might have been early 90s. But let's listen to this. And what you'll hear is it just sounds great in the mix. It's a great example. And shout out to, what's the guy's name that does Vertex Effects? I'm
not sure, but Vertex is killing it.
Killing it.
Yes.
Is it Justin? I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. Here we go. Anyway, check it out.
All right, let's get it queued up.
All right.
Oh, that low C.
It's beautiful in the mix, isn't it?
It reminds me.
Oh,
I get why they're so cool for recording.
it's wild, right? It's like a synth bass almost.
I know.
Like it doesn't sound like a synth bass, but there's something
Right.
frequency wise.
You hear the low note so clearly. It's not just low end, like you hear the definition of the note.
Just
Ready,
to remind
Freddie.
you. Oh,
That low C. Oh my God. that is cool.
100 points, 100 brownie points if anybody can tell me the film that song came from.
What is that? I don't get the brownie points. Dude, something else about Ready Freddy's playing is that he is barely playing the bass.
Was it the 90s, Alan? Oh, 1988. Never mind. But hey, it was almost the 90s. They were just warming up.
Yeah.
They were getting ready for
feel
the
like-
good old days.
Exactly. I feel like, 88, you can just kind of
Well,
include it.
it might as well
Kinda
be the
include
90s.
it. Yeah. 88 all the way to 2002. It's the 90s,
It's cool.
Check that out though. Ready Freddy playing that C, he's barely playing the bass, right? It's like, it's this kind of thing. And you just hear the note. You hear that that's a C, and he's not playing. It's none of that stuff, right?
No.
It's barely. He's just like, so cool. Jeez,
There was a
man.
moment, I think, when people really wanted Smiths on a lot of records as well. I think that
totally.
it was one of those basses that, in terms of like producers and stuff like that, I don't think that, so this is no diss against MTD or anything like that, but I don't think there was a bunch of producers saying, oh, I want you to have an MTD when you get to the studio. But the Smith sound, I think, was one of the only boutique-y type of basses that kind of became like a thing in studios. I've heard a bunch of people talking about that before. So interesting. just like kind of like
Love
P basses now.
Yeah, for sure. And so yours is Vinny Fodera era,
Yeah.
mid 80s, right?
84, I think, yeah, maybe 82.
Then of course
the
Vinny
80s.
goes and does Fodera,
Yeah.
right? And then Ken Smith is making them in his workshop with his team.
Yeah.
Then for a brief moment they moved to Brubaker. Brubaker was making them, and now I believe they're back.
They've gone
And
back,
I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, Ken himself isn't making them, but I don't know who's making them. Is
I
there?
think they've gone back there. I think they're actually in like being made.
Yeah, but you're not telling me Ken Smith is in there sanding those bases.
Maybe,
There's
I
no
don't know.
way.
And shout out to Ken Smith as well, because he's like a real innovator in the space. I think that more people
Yeah.
need to know all of the incredible things that he brought to the electric bass. There is a lot of them.
Top loader bridge,
Yeah.
center detent pots, recessed strap locks.
First bass to have an onboard EQ, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, are you sure? Are you sure that wasn't a limbic?
I think it might have been Ken Smith. First, tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. First, wide neck 5-string.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
because there was 5-string basses and 6-string basses before. I think that they did the first wide neck, either 5 or 6. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm spreading some lies here, but as long as 80% of them are right, I'm comfortable
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that he did that was really cool. Tapered strings,
Cool.
I think.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah, there was a bunch. There's a bunch. If you go to his website, there's like a list of all of the things that he did. Are we swapping out basses? What are you going for?
I don't know. What's next on the list?
Well, the list is messy, dude. It's kind of just out there. I'm gonna grab a Warwick.
Ah, I was hoping you would say that. Yeah. Let's do it. Oh God, I just almost like threw my back out grabbing this bass, man. It's so heavy.
Because it's like 11 pounds. By the way,
I will never-
This bass
yeah.
will have gone by now. If anybody's wondering, we recorded this like a few days after the giveaway. I'm not hoarding
Yeah.
giveaway basses. Oh my word, this is so different.
Totally different. Yeah.
There is something like there's something interesting about the mid quality of Warwicks as well. It's when you get into the active sphere. You know, when you're in
Yes.
the passive sphere. I don't ever play a jazz bass and think, oh, that mid is interesting. Same thing with the P bass. I'm like, I kind of know where I'm at with it. But with all active basses, they have their own mid
Yeah, they
quality.
do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is, it's like a ha kind of like, yeah, interesting. Yeah.
These sound really similar, actually. What year? I mean, this is a brand new build, right? It's a Streamer,
Yeah.
Warwick custom shop, right, in Germany. This bass is a 92, I believe. Streamer Stage 2. I mean, come on. Come on now. What
Yeah.
about those yin-yang inlays?
That's what it's about, dude. Who had the? I feel like some famous bass 90s guy had yin yang.
Of course, everybody. Peanut did.
Oh, really? Was it a thing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Peanut, Dirk Lance, for sure. Because they got in a little later when they started going to these inlays. But like Zender, right? Stuart Zender with Jamiroquai, he was sort of before.
Yeah, I don't think he had the
inlays,
yin.
right?
Well, we've got
Yeah.
we've got a clip. We've got a live clip. I'm on it, peoples. I'm on it. Check it out. Let's see. Here he is. This is Mr. Zender. Yeah, no dots, I don't think, on this one. This is his original. This is the first, like the one that he did all of those incredible bass lines on the first couple of albums. PJ, but reverse.
Yeah. Stage
Check out
one.
the Trace Elliott, dude. Trace Elliott in the back.
Oh,
Full
it's
90s.
my dream.
Bleach hair.
Big pants, big shirt.
Oh, yeah.
That's all that stuff's back. Bring it back.
So good. Hey, they go into this bass line. Let me show you this bass line. It's so good.
Let's
Let me see if
go.
I
I
can,
wanna
let me
hear
see if
it.
I can find it for you. Oh, this is it. Just check it out.
Oh, yeah, this is so cool.
What a bass line.
Oh, That 24th fret action, man. He's getting up there. Show it to us, Divine. I know you know it. I mean...
Yeah,
that is crazy. That's great. And what's that little cheeky bit there?
Down to the E flat. So you go 3 down to the
F
E flat.
to E flat.
Then 3 down to the B flat. And then G, A, B flat, A flat. It's great.
Oh my God. Whoa.
You know, as well, just to show, like, cause it's not as easy to hear it on that either. But let me just play the intro to this track here as well. This one's called Manifest Destiny, because you can really hear his bass here. Obviously, it's from the album. Oh, the tone! Check it out.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Here we go. Oh,
Shickadagoo.
so nice, isn't it?
Yes.
How nice is that first chord when it comes in? It's like, oh,
That's very nice.
it's like being
It's
like
very
lowered
smooth.
into a warm bath.
I mean,
Yeah.
and we've actually, there's so many, you know, Dirk Lance, we talked about Dirk, we talked about Peanut, and Scott floated this idea of doing a Warwick. I mean, I don't know, is it a Crushes? Warwick crushes everything? Is it when
Maybe.
the Warwick ruled the world?
When Warwick ruled the world or something like
Man,
that.
there's a
yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Let us know in
But
the comments,
it's a-
what do you want? What do you want us to make? When Warwick ruled the world, or why the Warwick bass, why the Warwick streamer crushes everything? Please let us know in the comments. Hey, we've got,
man.
have you got some Dirk? Have you got a bit of Dirk?
You know, I'm just going to say this for now. Go and find our. I did an interview on the SBL channel with Dirk Lance, and he breaks down some of his stuff, and it's outrageous. I mean, Dirk has this crazy slap technique that he does where he uses the back of his palm.
It's outrageous. Can I just
outrageous?
hang on? I've got it. Hang on, I might have you covered. Just a little clippy. Little-
Appreciate you.
I appreciate
appreciate
you.
you.
Here we go.
I mean,
No, we don't. It's
you got
somewhere
it. Well,
here.
as Scott's
Oh,
bringing that up.
check it
You
out.
got it?
I've got it.
I
Check
was
this
about
out.
to fill some time for you. Okay. Yes, that's it.
What?
There's a triplet that can be done. It's almost more of a,
Yeah, he's
like a
got the
left-handed
yin-yangs.
muted triplet.
Yep, sure does. Where you're getting that left hand slap in.
Yeah, and then what I figured out was a single hand triplet where it starts with a pop, back of the hand, thumb.
What? Dude.
And then it's a quintuplet. I guess you could play it, but it doesn't have the same bottom end as when you use the
Right.
back of your hand.
Listen to that.
Oh, it's so
That's
good, isn't it?
insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for anybody listening, he's just talking about how to play triplets on the bass. Starting out playing, you know, like. But that's not how he does it. He starts with a pop, then he goes back of his hand, then thumb slap. There's no way. There's no way I could ever do it. in
It's
my life.
outrageous, isn't it? Yeah, it's outrageous.
outrageous. Yeah.
Have we got any more Warwicks that we want to jump in? Oh, hold
Oh
it.
yeah, I thought you had something. I
Hold
thought you had
up.
a little taste.
Okay, you know, like I've got a fetish about Wenge. Oh, the Wenge, right? Well, I've also in the past had a fetish about Wenge Warwick Dolphins. And we've got a great clip here of the great Stefan Lassard
Yeah.
playing with Dave Matthews Band.
Dude, I feel like it's the first time we've talked about Stefan on the pod.
Yeah, we need to get him on. Ian was sad earlier. Before we went to do this video, the first thing he'd said, he was like, I have looked all over the internet. I cannot find a clip of Stefan playing that Warwick Dolphin.
Yes,
I was
dude,
like,
because I
got it.
wanted this. I wanted this. You know this bass line?
Oh,
Crush.
yeah.
Like, man, I don't know if he played that on a Warwick, but maybe
It
it's
sounds
homogeneous.
like it.
I think it does, but I don't know. And I was dying to find it. All the live clips of him playing Crush are on a modulus. So I was like, dang, it doesn't support our theory.
It doesn't, but here he is anyway, playing the Warwick Dolphin.
Lance marching.
Yeah. Trace Elliott. We should talk about Trace Elliott for a second.
I would love that. Boyd Tinsley just
Yeah, dude.
tearing it up. You know, just bow hair flying.
I'm waiting for a good bass shot, but I'm just enjoying the music anyway. Oh, nice.
He's got some great fill moments in this section here.
Yeah. That's a lot of bass amps.
Oh, sure is.
Tell you what, man, I bet he's moving some aero. That's why he's standing right next to them.
Trouser flappers.
Yeah. And it's the 90s, dude, so you got a lot of trousers to flap. There's a lot of
You
trousers
do.
there. You know?
You do.
All these freaking skinny jeans, dude. I mean, like, you get nothing. You get no feedback from
Yeah,
it.
you got
But
no-
in the
you got no
90s,
flap.
we all had pajama pants on in the 90s. It was a good time. Listen, if you were, not around in the 90s, or maybe you were around, but you weren't into bass or whatever in the 90s, Trace Elliott ruled the
Yeah.
world. The Trace Elliott amps, there was
Yes.
there was only them. There was
That's right.
it was a Mr. Trace Elliott must have been a happy dude.
I know.
All of-
And
all
that's
of-
a UK company, right?
Yeah, all of the can you remember Eden came out and
course.
that whole thing, and that was when things actually started to change. It was Eden, Aguilar, you had bag end cabs, that
Yep.
whole thing became like a new movement. But before that, it was all Trace Elliott. It was kind of like,
Do you know-
they were the bass version of Marshall.
Yes, for sure. Did
Yeah.
you know that Eden, too, is in a Minnesota company? Minnesota,
way.
baby. Montrose, Minnesota. In fact, there's a suburb close to us called Eden Prairie, and it was randomly named after Eden Prairie, Minnesota. That is no lie.
Wow.
Yes, I know.
That's amazing. Are they still?
So
are Eden
crazy.
still around?
They got sold, I think Music Corp bought them, and like so many big monster companies that buy small
Screwed it up.
brands, just kind of, just I don't see that gear. I think you can still get it, but it is not in the, no one's talking about that and using that stuff actively anymore. I feel
Yeah.
like you see it heyday 90s, but and
Yeah.
early 2000s, but man.
Moving out of the Warwicks, yeah?
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
moving
yeah,
out of the
let's go.
Warwicks. What do you want to move to? Again, while Ian's thinking about it, because Ian's got all the bases, while he's thinking about it, let me just say, if we've missed any during this video, please let us know down below. That would be incredible. And also, you might not know... Oh, he's getting a slinky one out, she said. Sorry, I went to my 16-year-old
He said.
self. So he said, yeah. So you might not know this, but we do monthly gear giveaways at SPL that are open to everybody. It's completely free to be a part of this. So we do 2 massive giveaways every year called Winner Base Builder School, but we do every single month we do gear giveaways, and we it's something you can imagine. Incredible. You've seen our other giveaways, right? Incredible prizes. So if you want to be on our gear giveaway list, all you need to do is go to splgiveaway.com and you'll be able to sign up there. And then every single month, you will be auto entered into a giveaway. So if you do want to be on our giveaway list, just go to splgiveaway.com, and every single month you will be added to our free giveaway, and hopefully we'll be sending you some cool free stuff in the future.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love it.
last mention as well. We've actually got a awesome special offer running right now on the SPL membership. It's $50 off if you join today. So if you haven't, checked out the SPL membership before, highly recommend that you go do so. We've got some incredible courses, learning pathways, mentorships, like all of that is included in the SPL membership. You can get $50 off if you go there today. All you need to do is go to Winter of Bass. Yes, winterofbass.com. Go there. You'll be able to get all of the special the pricing that we've got, and we've also got a partnership program that you get access to when you grab a membership as well, which gives you discounts across all of these incredible companies.
So many companies.
Yes, so many.
And I forget about this. There's Dunlop strings, there's lull basses.
Yeah.
It's endless. There's
Alinto. What was that? I was talking to Jay the other day. Groove Gear, all of these incredible manufacturers, they're all part of the SBL partner program. You get huge discounts when you're a member. So if you're buying regularly, if you're buying strings, if you're buying basses, cabs, pedals, stuff like that, if you're an SBL member, you can actually save. If you're buying that stuff anyway, your SBL membership becomes free, right? Because of the savings that you make in buying that gear. So check it out. Go to winterofbass.com and grab a membership while it's on. And hopefully we'll see you on the inside.
You seeing my screen right now, Divine?
I'm not seeing your screen. Oh, I am seeing your screen.
Pull it up, fellas. Here we go. Check it out. I mean, this is one of the most classic bass sounds of the 90s. I'll die on this hill. It's one of my favorites. This is Jeremy, Pearl Jam, right?
Oh.
How iconic is that sound?
What a vibe, dude. I tell you what, man. Can you remember when I called you a bass collector and you were sort of low-key offended? You were, no,
you're going to call me again and I'm going to still be offended.
I wouldn't call myself a collector. And I was like, I don't know, man. Well, when you pulled that out, do you know, if somebody's in a different universe, somebody's having a conversation, they're like, what kind of bass, how much of a bass collector you are? And if somebody really wanted to flex, a bass collector wanted to flex, they could just say, I've got a Hamer 12 string. That would be it. It would be over, right? If they really wanted to flex. I'm just putting it out there that you have a Hamer 12 string.
I do have a Hamer 12 string. You guys, Hamer made this 12 string in the 80s, but it rose to prominence in the 90s.
The greatest era of all time.
Tom Peterson, Cheap Trick, shout out Doug Pinnick, King's X.
Yes, yeah.
And of course, the great Jeff Ament. Take a pick, you play this thing. That's the low string, but if you get all three strings, it sounds like that.
Outrageous.
The harmonics? Oh my God. Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's just so cool. And I kind of feel like, too, this instrument is really cool in a mix, like a three-piece mix. That's why bands like, King's X would use it. Yeah. Because if you're playing behind a guitar player...
Oh, my God.
It's just
outrageous.
Huge. Takes up so much space. But yeah.
Have you used it much?
Too, I've actually used it on some sessions.
No,
I've never had it on a gig. Oh, absolutely. Because it's an amazing overdub machine.
Yeah.
If there's a part of a tune coming and it needs, it's just like a chimey. So I think about it more in terms of overdub space.
Do you know, have you ever walked into a session and you're like, look, I know that you might Just wait till you hear it.
Yeah, yes.
Don't judge. Don't judge. It's
If you
good.
pull this out, yeah, you do have to make some sort of apologies. But man, I actually have used it on a number of records. And if you're wondering, it's 2 octave strings that are the same.
Yeah,
and then a low
the
string.
Yeah.
So, you can play the 1 string, but if you do a downstroke, you get all of it. And it's hard to play.
Is it?
It's just hard to like fret 3 strings at once.
Yeah, and pick all the way across the 3 strings.
Yeah.
Can you pick it? Can you do it finger style, or is it like pick
You
only?
can. So if you play finger style, you just don't hear the top notes as much.
Got it.
There's something about when you hit it with a pick, it's hitting the guitar strings first and then letting the bass note after, which to me is how like it should sound.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty badass, man.
I feel like you need like a trio, and you just play that in the trio.
I know. Just
Do you
King's
know
X
the orange
wannabe.
goodness? Do you know the orange goodness, right?
Yeah,
You just,
yeah.
Look, lads, look, we need to have a conversation.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. This has made it on a couple of Orange Goodness tracks. It's
bet it
kind of
has.
snuck in there a bit, but yeah, man, it's a vibe. It's cool.
It's freaking awesome. Okay, I'm going to switch now, but I want you to look away, and I want you to try and guess who this is. Okay, here. So,
Okay.
if anybody listening, Ian has turned away. Okay, you can turn back now, Ian.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am so ready.
Here we go.
Come on. Oh, it's the Buddha himself?
Bill the Buddha Dickens on a Lakland. Or Lakeland, Lakeland.
I'm like, give me that long A, bro.
With tape wounds.
Yeah, he's playing tapes.
And they sound incredible.
Bill Buddha, man, tearing it up.
Woo!
This guy I always think of as a Conklin guy.
Yeah,
He was like
me
a
too.
7-string, 9-string, I feel like he had.
Oh. So check it out. This video isn't from the 90s. I know that. But listen,
Yeah.
like Lakelands were a big deal in the 90s. People were playing them. They did have their moment. But there just isn't a lot of... Yeah, exactly. That specific one that Ian's pulled up, actually, I've got a lot of questions about it, which is similar to the one that Bill's playing here, but the pickups are different. But they definitely had their moment in the 90s. I would say that they were the first boutique bass that came out that was like a Music Man Stingray, but trying to do a better job of what the Sting... It was like the boutique version of, or the boutique answer to the Stingray. And what you obviously get with it is a Stingray pickup, and then you get a neck pickup as well. But there's just not a lot of clips of people using them in the 90s. If anybody's got more clips of them, please, put them down in the comments below. Have you got another one?
You don't think your brother from an American Mother has got a clip of a Lakeland for you? Oh, dude.
Have you
Hold
got
on.
one?
And let me just back up a minute, Divine.
I'm backing
Because
up.
yes, sure, okay, there's a Music Man pickup here, yes. But also, this addition of the neck pickup, what they let you do is you could choose the rear pickup, and then it's supposed to kind of be Stingray-esque.
Is that
and it's
Stingray?
Stingray-esque.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, to me... It doesn't totally sound like a Stingray.
Let me
but
ask
the
you
idea
this.
Was,
Let me ask you this. On a Stingray, obviously that's the only pickup, and you can play it as a bass just with that one pickup. Could
That's right.
you do that with this bass? Does it have that width that the Music Man has?
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like for sure.
For instance,
you could play
couldn't
with
do that on a jazz bass, right? You couldn't just get unless you're trying to do Jacko, right? But you couldn't
you're
just
right.
have
Yes.
I
Yes.
just play jazz bass and I just play on the bridge pickup
Right.
all the time. It's going to be a bit wacky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could, I think, but then they give you coils. So there's 2 coils in here. You can do a bridge pickup jazz bass thing.
Oh, interesting.
And then it gives you a forward coil as well. But the idea was to use the rear coil and then blend in the center, and then essentially it's more like a jazz bass.
Jazz bass.
But my favorite sound of the Lakland is just both coils on in the back, blended equally with the neck, and then it's kind of its own thing.
Yeah, huge.
It's got a giant B string too. And listen. I feel like before I worked with you, Mr. Divine, I heard on your channel, the great Sean Hurley, talking about this era in his life where he brings some nameless active bass into the studio and the guy is playing and the guys are going, oh, I don't know. And then that's what led him to the P bass. Well, I think you know. I think maybe a lot of us know it was a Lakland.
It was a Lakland, yeah.
And so then you kind of think, oh, well, whatever that was probably wasn't that cool. But let's take a little trip back, shall we? Let's take a little trip back to
I'm buckling in.
99. Woodstock 99, dude. We're going to check it out. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Vertical Horizon. Everything You Want. This was Sean Hurley's first band, and check out how his Lakland sits in the mix. Check it out. Bass entrance is right here. Woo! Ready to see this guy? Come on, give him to us. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Ringer tees, dude. Ringer tees and bootcut jeans, baby. Bordering on 2000.
Five string as well, right?
Yes. Oh man,
Sounds
because
killer,
it's
doesn't
this
it?
thing.
Yeah.
It's like and it just has that sort of like, I think it sits in the track incredibly well for this kind of thing, right? For this sort of like modern alt rock vibe that was happening at the end of the 90s. But yeah, man, that chorus and then this. Check that out. I know.
What's the neck like on it? Like all of the Lakland basses that I've played, the necks are really nice.
It's beautiful. It's quarter sawn, which was actually the first time I'd ever even heard that phrase. It's taken out of the tree at a different angle, so it's supposed to be more solid, like it has less flex is the idea.
Yeah.
And I would say it's relatively thin. It's not a thick front to back neck. I bet you'd like it a lot.
Yeah,
Divine.
I thought, and they do the dots on them are slightly bigger, aren't they? I love that. See the dots on the neck?
On the side?
On the front.
Oh,
The
on the
dots
front.
on the front are always a little bigger, at least the ones I
yeah.
played on a Lakeland. And are they wood? Are they made out of wood, those dots?
They're bird's eye maple.
I appreciate that. And are the frets really small?
Yeah, the frets are mandolin frets.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're like, there's a few unique things about Lakeland basses. I think Lakeland basses need a bit more love. I think that they need to come back.
Man.
And I hate anybody that says them bridges aren't awesome. There's all these,
I agree.
all these
I
people
agree.
on talk bass saying they look ugly. You know
They're
nothing.
ugly? No. Yeah,
They're
I think
awesome.
they're cool. I think it's also like a really cool brand identifier. You know,
Yeah.
you see the oval bridge and you're like, oh. And I don't know if you know this, Divine, but if you go to Lakeland's website and you want to hear all the basses with all kinds of different strings over all kinds of different grooves, a young Ian Allison
It was you, wasn't it? Yeah.
pleaded with Dan Lakin if I could just make me a beautiful bass, and I would love to record all these clips for you. In my early 20s, man, Dan Lakin took a huge chance on me, pulled me in. I recorded so much content for them, and they paid me in basses, which is a 20-something-year-old's dream come true.
Dream. Final. Oh, wait a minute. Final Lakeland clip. Oh.
What? Get out of town. I know that lanky Welshman.
Yeah. So
Is it
Pino,
fretless?
it's a fretless, yeah, fretless 5-string, yeah. And he's also played loads of Lakland P basses as well. It's Dominic Miller, Manicacu, and yeah, Pino doing his thing. It's a pit.
Holy
The
crap.
recording's not as good as it could be, but yeah, killer though, right?
sounds
And he's
so
playing
good.
the fretless version of that you've got. Yeah. Have we got any more, dude? Feels like we need a Spector in the house.
Oh, I'm so glad you said something.
Oh, have you got one?
Of course I do.
No.
Of course I do. Just your friendly bass enthusiast in the house here. Yeah, I mean, okay. So let's take a look at the Spector NS2. We've made a video about this bass before, but this is an incredible instrument that really came, it actually was born in the late 70s and through the 80s became associated with hair metal. And I will say I would almost put this in the 80s camp, but it definitely bleeds over into the 90s.
Yeah.
And you've got some Alice in Chains, right?
Oh, I might have a bit of Alice in Chains, dude.
You got a little Alice in Chains?
Oh.
Yeah, that sound. Mike Starr on the bass. So cool.
Every time I think of Spector, I just think about that intro. Spector
Yeah,
are
it's
making
amazing.
some lovely looking basses right now. There's some beautiful. I saw a relic, like a
they do some relics
relic,
now.
a black.
Yep.
And it had like a sunburst underneath. I was like,
Yeah, I've seen
it
that
looked
bass.
great.
It's beautiful.
And I went to our friend of SBL, Andy Baxter. I was at Andy's house, who's got this beautiful bass shop. Oh, goddamn, what's the URL? If you search Andy Baxter bass, you'll find him. And so I went over there, hung out, played a bunch of basses, as we do. And he had a Spector 5-string there, and it killed. It was
Yeah, they're
beautiful.
amazing.
It was beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. And if you take a look at this and you think like, oh, that looks sort of similar to the Warwick Scott's holding, we've done a video about this.
They're very different basses.
They really are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the NS2, the classic NS2 vibe, is more sort of like aggressive.
Different sound, right?
Yeah, whereas that Warwick sounds kind of like, I don't know, it's smoother in a way.
Smoother, yeah.
These have like an aggression to them that I think is actually pretty. They're so loud. Turn it down a little bit. That intro.
Oh.
Right, that sort of scrapiness to the sound. They've got a little more rock and roll spirit, you know? And there's a whole story of Warwick licensing the shape and then, you know, a lot of drama with that. But Ned Steinberger designed this sort of curved NS body for the NS2 Spector in the late 70s. And it's just fantastic.
Check this out.
EMG's has pre, right? And so it gives it a completely different character than the Warwick.
Yeah, check this one out here. Oh.
Yeah,
that's nice, isn't it? That's nice.
Yeah,
I'd
so
love to see this bass with these in like 60s position. So this shifted up slightly probably to around here.
Well, you can do that now. The custom shop will do a variety of pickup spacing. And I will say, I mean, full disclosure, I've done some work for Spector. I really believe in what they're doing. I love the brand. So, you know, and this bass was made to my specs, this NS2. And we actually scooched the whole pickup set up a little bit to warm it up. So
what, the one that you're holding now?
Mm-hmm, yep, this one here, yeah. And we did this sort of like vintage, almost like what would happen if Fender and Spector were BFFs back in the day.
They had a baby.
Clay inlays. These are clay.
Oh, are they
inlays.
clay?
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's very cool. And
I wonder what it'd look like with like
roll.
less frets. I wonder what it'd look like with less frets.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, if I had like 22, 21,
Yeah,
22 or
because this
something
24?
like that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, do you know what? I actually just prefer, do you know when I'm like slapping? I just prefer I prefer less frets for the
Sure.
tone and where it is as
Yep.
well.
Yep,
Yeah,
sure.
I think it
get
gets a
that.
slightly different tone. Yeah, so I wonder if it'd look weird or it'd look cool, man.
I don't know, man. I mean, I haven't even like honestly really noticed. It's funny. I love NS2s. I happen to really dig I like the slap sound of these so much.
It's got a vibe, hasn't it? It's like in your face.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool.
I just
Very
wonder. I
different
wonder
than
if there's like a
Warwick.
play where you could do like traditional Spector though. You know, where you sort of like go after that sound of like more of a traditional bass, but using the sort of like Spector aesthetic. So like passive.
They've done a bunch of that
Yeah.
stuff, like all the Woodstock custom collection stuff that they've done. All the builders have had various. They've built a bunch of passive basses, even just straight up P bass,
Yeah,
passive
I've
P
seen
bass
that
style.
one, yeah,
They even did a 51. They did like a 51 single coil P bass Spector that was incredible, super cool.
Because you
So
went
they'll
and hung
do all
out,
that
didn't you?
stuff.
You did a bunch of videos for
Yeah.
them and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
damn. You're flying
Yeah.
everywhere, hanging out, playing basses. What's
Just
going on?
extracurricular activities, just on the weekends, babe.
Have you got any more basses? Are we done? Are we all through?
I think we did it. That was really fun, man.
Guys, did we do it? Let us know in the comments. Did we do it? Did we miss anything out? I'm sure that we did. But remember, before you just go crazy in the comments, we're looking for basses that really had their moment in the night, like where they just sort of like they really had a moment and came to the peak of their existence in the 90s. That's what we were really trying to do with this video. Not saying that any of these basses aren't legitimate now at all. They're all incredible. Most of these manufacturers are still around. I think all of the manufacturers are still around and doing an incredible job. I think there's maybe a 90s comeback coming down the pipeline.
I agree.
I think there is, yeah. Well, you see it in everything else, right? You see it in fashion, you see it in music. I think it's coming with basses as well. Maybe we're going to be riding the wave.
I love
wait and
it,
see.
man. I love it. I hope so.
Okay, let's call it, dudes. Hey, I said it before, go to Winter of Bass if you want to grab that awesome discount, get access to the membership, the partner program, all of that cool stuff. And then if you also want to be part of our monthly giveaways that we're doing, shout out to Lydia, who sent me the URL over before. Thank you, Lydia. Just go to sblgiveaway.com. You can sign up for the monthly giveaways there. We'd love for you to be a part of them. And that is that. See you next time.
Take care, everybody.